Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy Tuesday evening to join me. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you guys are all doing really well. I really need to reflect and listen to what I say sometimes, because otherwise, it could be construed as just some dude here that's middle aged talking to himself about nothing. Nothing that matters. I'm just saying, right? So, hey, I really do appreciate you being a part of my life, joining my channel, watching the show, whatever it is that you call what you are doing right now. Either way, you feel me? Thanks for being along with myself in this journey that not just myself calls life, but I guess every other person who's alive. So here's the thing. Tonight, I want to talk about a few different things, kind of like random stuff that doesn't matter, but I just kind of want to talk about, okay? And honestly, as I'm trying to remember some of the things that I was just reading, I they just all leave my very small mind. Not like a lot has been on it, right? So we can kind of do that. Let's start there. Nothing has really changed for me. I'm still chronically unemployed, have no prospects, and am enjoying every minute of my hopeless life. As much as a guy can, right? I mean, what do you want me to do? Like, give up? I mean, as if that, it just, anyways, things have been okay. The outside world is, sometimes a scary place. People get really upset over, like, some real trivial things, I feel like. And, it's all good. I mean, my roommate and I were hanging outside of a bus stop yesterday for like 2 hours. Made like five friends, you feel me? And just kind of had a good, pleasant experience out and about. And it's one of those things that literally determines whether or not you live in a dystopia. Are you able to peacefully converse with random strangers? Because if not, you may have some issues. It's like real telling, right? And actually, link in the description below to a really cool video that describes dystopian stuff versus utopian stuff, or dystopia versus utopia. It's like a 15-minute video. I encourage you all to watch it. That leads us into some of the random things that I wanted to talk about, which is like um, festival season. So like festy season to all my fest heads out there. You feel me? So what exactly does that mean, Albert? What are you talking about? Well, absolutely nothing. And what I'm talking about is that even the guy that lured thousands of people to an island that had some pop-up 10 by 10s and bologna sandwiches for all of its VIP guests that were arriving. I'm talking about the infamous Fire Festival. And if you didn't already know, the dude that went to jail for conspiring to mislead thousands of people and have them go on to an island that it was a whole mess, right? If you have not heard of Fire Festival or the Fire Festival, then I mean, I don't know, Google it. Learn about it. It was this big thing that happened a few years ago. The guy got in trouble. He just got out of jail, and I mean, what a hustler. These are the kinds of people America produces, okay? Not to mention, did you guys know? Okay, and hear me out on this one, because this is a shout and nod to all my very extreme libertarian friends out there, all right? I gotta be clear here. I'm a social capitalist. I'm your friend. We got a lot of things in common, a lot of common core values. I really do feel like that. And where you'll find my support is, I mean, somewhere in between where I feel like the current president is, and somewhere in between the core libertarian ideologies that make up all of what being a libertarian is. And I gotta tell you, shout to the Silk Road founder who was pardoned by President Donald Trump like last week. And whether or not you want to argue about his specific role in providing a website that was the first of its kind, and exclusively moreover to my libertarian supporters. All right, I understand the need for free speech. I get it. I understand the modalities, and I understand what's at stake, and proof of concept was something achieved through what arguably was, a website that was overall not a good thing in and of itself. And it's ironic how all of the methods that were used to facilitate Silk Road as it was during its glory days, um, most notably from the person who was charged with those crimes that recently just got pardoned last week from President Donald Trump. I mean, okay, I get it. They even, Silk Road was like the eBay of dark web, okay? So it had reviews, you couldn't sell. There was explicit rules on things that you couldn't sell, right? There were no unaliving kinds of contracts available. You couldn't do things that involved like children. I mean, for the most part, it was a website that again sold drugs and other like weapons, things like that. But like it was again an example of how Bitcoin was able to be used, and that again that proof of concept in the real world. I just Free speech is free speech, and I feel like at some point, people have to make better decisions, okay? As if it's the government and the deregulation of drugs, or having a conversation about whether or not prostitution is something we should strongly consider as more of a fundamental human right as opposed to something that is stigmatized and criminalized. Obviously, amongst adults that live in a world that is regulated in a way that people can have drugs or whatever and not completely destroy their life. Going back to that prostitution thing, we're one of only a very few handful developed modern day nations that don't offer some type of reciprocity as it concerns sex workers. Okay, so I'm just saying, most of the time in the modern developed world, whether it's in Europe or different parts of Australia or Canada, sex workers are regulated, they're tested, they have health care, they get benefits. Again, some of these things, right? But I just thought it was interesting about, what recently happened with the presidential pardon that was given to the Silk Road founder. And I got to express, again, my firm support and affirmation for free speech, and how sometimes that's a bit troubling and inconvenient for the population at whole because of the things that it brings to light. And sometimes those things are things that need to be discussed so that they're not like done in secret, and they're not done without regulation or regulatory behavior, like regulatory bodies, and making sure that they are in fact doing whatever it is. I'm just saying. So like, free speech is a tricky one, but I will never speak against the open internet community, because again, that's like where we're at, right? You got to be real dumb to go against like Hackers Anonymous. Like again, like these people, it's their job. They do these things for fun sometimes. Like and they got a lot of good points as it concerns being the people that are essentially making sure that governments don't entirely strip away our freedom from being able to communicate on the servers that are used by millions, hundreds of millions of people, billions of people every single day. You feel me? Yeah, huge security compromise, huge security risk, requires a lot of people working together to do a lot of things, but it also requires a lot of people to make sure that other things are legally challenged just as much as they can be. And again, I know that was a huge sidebar, but There were also some other interesting things that I'd wanted to talk about tonight, but I completely. So we went from the Fire Festival, and then I'm not really sure where we ended up. But I do hope that you guys are very well. I hope that you guys have a really good night. Again, my life, unfortunately, isn't really going anywhere. In the meantime, I'm just chilling. I'm trying to eat better. I mean, I don't know. I just those are the things, right? I guess I've been working out a little bit. Welcome to the Gun Show. Those are the things that I got going on. But there was all kinds of interesting news, including the fact that the United Nations is pushing a very Western agenda forward as it concerns the United States and Russia, and the United States recognizing that Russia is not at fault in the Ukraine invasion, which I'm just throwing out there. Interesting sidebar. As much as I love Russia, I'm pretty sure it was y'all who went into Ukraine and invaded them. But if you need it formally recognized on the world scale through the United Nations, which obviously you do, it's more than a formality. It's something that you need so that you're not convicted, tried, and of war crimes. So it is a pretty big deal, and it's something that I don't know. I haven't heard anything of like Russia backing out of Kyiv or leaving Ukraine or stopping their war. So I'm not quite sure if this is something that is a first step to that happening, which unironically I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen next week, because the news did just break this morning about the mutual United Nations agreement between the United States and Russia. So I'm not sure if this is like a prologue to what will eventually happen, and we've talked about before. Hopefully it is, right? Because it just sucks that so many lives were lost, and that a good part of what their mission was probably already been accomplished. It's just frustrating. War sucks. All right, to all the modern developed nations out there, stop fighting. It's a stupid thing. You talk about wanting to like run a good business and everything, which is like essentially it's literally impossible to do when profit over people through unaliving them is more popular than fixing the problems that we've already made. So I hope that you guys have a really good night. A lot of random stuff lately. I'm just trying to keep it real, trying to keep it as like low key possible. A lot of thought goes into these vlogs. Not really, not at all. So I mean, obviously it does. I read things throughout the day. I figure out what I kind of want to talk about more or less, and then I get on camera and forget everything that I've wanted to remember throughout the day. So have a really good night. Thanks for watching my show. My name is Albert. This is Vlogs About Nothing. Take care. Bye.